Hello, welcome to the 90th episode of the Carscast Moviecast. Jeff, from what language? Oh, wait.
90 is a lot.
90 is a lot.
That's like someone could listen to it for like one a year for their entire life, and they I mean, statistically, they wouldn't make it this far.
Yeah. Is that really the case? I thought 90.
People don't live on average to 90. That's old.
What is the average?
It's like, well, the thing is that average, I think, includes like premature deaths of every type. It's not just like disease-related death.
Right.
I think the average is about 70.
Whoa, that seems low. But that makes sense, I guess. Yeah. Huh.
I mean, it's lower in the U.S. than a lot of countries.
So I'm really hoping you get this question right. It's kind of doubtful because I wrote the question and forgot to write the answer, and I don't remember.
You wrote the question?
No, I copied it from my phone to my.
The question was going to be, what was my favorite flower in second grade? I'm like, I don't know, Magnolia.
So from what language did English borrow the word ketchup?
Japanese.
Nope. I'm Googling it right now. It's Chinese. So.
I was close.
Yeah.
I mean, geographically, obviously, completely different cultures.
Right.
But geographically, I was close.
That's a different... I Googled that one for the answer. But that's a different answer than what the trivia app told me. So I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I just went, phonetically. I just was like, what language has those, sounds that it might be adapted from?
Yeah.
Didn't quite get there.
No. Well, before we get too deep into this, we already thanked everybody on the Patreon episode, but we'll do it again here on the big episode. But thank you to everybody who had us in your Spotify Wrapped. That was very, very cool.
Yeah, it was almost overwhelming how many people had it in there.
Yeah, because I don't remember seeing a lot last year, and albeit I don't think it was as popular of a thing last year to share it, but...
we had some last year. I would say we probably had 15 or 20 last year, but this year I feel like we had 50.
This year,
people that sent it to us.
Definitely got annoying for other people to watch our Instagram stories. But
for a second, I thought you were gonna say it got annoying for you. You're like, it definitely got annoying.
It definitely. I would prefer less of you listened to us. But
screw you guys. Go listen to the Intercut podcast.
Yeah.
They like their fans.
We charted at 94, which, is great. I don't know what that says about the TV and film podcast on Spotify, but that's
we made the top 100, which was
broke the
kind
top
of
100.
insane.
Very weird, yeah. Especially because, from what I know, it's there are so many articles out there. I got curious because it's there are so many articles that are these are the TV and film podcasts you need to listen to in 2020, and all the best, and we're on none of those lists.
We're not on any of those lists.
We are on that list. So
we're on the list generated by raw data. We're not on a list that someone would aggregate themselves personally.
We're kind of like the Adam Sandler movies of the podcast world, where it's people listen to us, but no one will recommend us.
Yeah,
no one.
They don't want to admit they listen to us.
Yeah. No one's out there you gotta listen to the Carscast. But anyways, thank you guys.
We suck.
Yeah. Also, Jeff, you don't know this because I don't play the theme song when we record anymore, but there is a new theme song this week.
There is?
I made a new one. I really like it. I really like it.
Yeah, what kind of vibe?
It's definitely a lot more chillax, It's definitely a lot more low key, but it's still...
Is it like a Martin Def chillax low key?
Sure, yeah. It's like a lo-fi hip hop type of thing. I got this sample from online and chopped it up a bit, and I think it works. So we'll see what the feedback is like. I remember I tried a new one briefly for the Iana Murray episode, and people at least like a few people did not like it at all. So let's hope people like this one. Uh,
Yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah. That would be unfortunate if they didn't.
right.
What if a bunch of people just are like, I'm never listening to this again. I hate the theme song that much.
We don't get any Spotify wrap-ups next year because
Yep.
of one. Yeah.
I just noticed the A24. It just popped into frame.
Yep, it's right there. I think like this is the most predictable purchase I've made because I
Yeah,
love
what company makes that?
A24. This is their own merch.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, they put it out on sale like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I remember seeing it and being like, I can't do that. And all my
And you
friends
did.
were like, get it, come on, just treat yourself. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
it's all right.
It's the exact type of thing that you would buy.
That's what Jaxie said. She's like, the colors, the fact that it's a fleece, the fact that it's A24, it's like, of course you own it. I'm like, yeah, it's like I had to get this.
Right. You're like the quarter zip fleece guy.
Yeah, like I love these
I mean,
kinds
this one's
of
a button, but
fleece.
it's still the quarter style of fleece.
Yeah, they're super comfy. This
Right.
one, I love these colors. Yeah. So
I also like, how the design understands that your head is too big to fit in the neck hole, so they give you a little extra thing to pop open, and that's how you put it on.
Right. So,
They know that your head is not the same width as your neck.
yeah.
So they give you some buttons to open it wider. I mean, I'm wearing a quarter zip as well, and it's the same deal. I can't
Same deal,
Can't
yeah.
take it off when the neck's fully zipped
that
up.
would be a problem in it. If they didn't have. It'd be weird that I got it on somehow, but
Yeah, you'd
Yeah.
have like a cylinder for a head. Your neck would just be one long cylinder.
just yeah. I've been taking. Well, how's your week been, Jeff?
Yeah, it's been, I mean, the same as my last, 40
Yeah.
40 weeks.
Right.
Mostly.
Mostly, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've been taking a lot of baths this week.
Really?
Yeah, I was just gonna. Are you a
That's
big
mixing it up.
bath guy? Yeah.
Okay, so the last time I took a bath
Uh-huh.
was because I was playing pickup basketball with our friend Nick,
Oh.
who was on the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sure I told this story when it happened, like a year or this was like 2 years ago, maybe at this point.
Yeah.
But so maybe I didn't tell that because we didn't do the podcast 2 years ago. But but anyways, he pump faked, and I bit really hard on this pump fake. So that's when he like fake shooting, just for people to know. So he like
Right.
kind of raised his arms and did like a fake little like jump where he didn't leave the ground. So it looked like he was going to shoot it. So I was like, yo, I can jump really high. I'm going to jump and block this. So I jumped as high as I could. And Nick did not know that I jumped that high. He ended up ducking and like spinning. What he did was when I jumped, he took my legs out from under me. My legs did an entire like 180-degree flip where I went. I flipped all the way around and I landed like shoulder first, and my legs just like hit the ground where it made a huge like audible like where it just like popped onto the wood. So my entire right side was like I couldn't feel it for like an hour.
Dude.
Yeah, and so Nick had to drive me home, and like I started stiffening up in the car even more. So by the time he brought me back to, because I lived in like a coach house at this point, so there was like some steps you had to get up to get to the main floor, and he had to walk me up these steps because I literally could not walk. Yeah, and I just like limped. On the way back I made him buy like Epsom salt because that's like what you put in a bath. Yeah, right. So I made him buy that. So we made one stop on the way back. I made him buy that, and like once I got into my apartment or my coach house, it's technically not an apartment, not really important for the story at all.
Right.
But continuing, I just made an Epsom salt bath and then laid in it for like 2 hours.
2 hours. Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's mainly because I couldn't get up.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to take a 2-hour bath, but I couldn't move.
Had no other choice.
Yeah, and then this was actually right before I was gonna do my Europe trip 2 years ago. So I'm pretty sure this was 2 years ago.
Okay.
And yeah, and then luckily I didn't break anything because at the time when I landed so hard I thought I might have broken something, but I didn't. And anyways, that is the story of the last time I took a bath. But yeah, they're nice.
I'm surprised Nick hasn't told me that story because I feel like he would love to share that with me.
Yeah, that was like his greatest pump fake ever.
Yeah.
Catastrophic injury.
Like I'm picturing you moved like the way those watering birds do when they.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like it was just a full like, basically a flip. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I flipped.
That's terrible. Wow. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I took a
But
bath.
luckily I didn't break anything. So after it took like 2 weeks for me to like not to be able to like walk normally again.
Yeah, that's.
But luckily it was like 3 or 4 weeks out from my trip to Europe, so I was fine.
Wow.
Actually, I think this was last year. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say I feel like we've known each other closer to that.
No, we've known each other longer.
Yeah.
Than 2 years, but this isn't not interesting at all. I'm just trying to remember when this happened. I think it was like last. I have no idea when this was.
Nice.
It was 1 or 2 years ago, roughly.
Right.
At some point, I don't know. It happened in the last 2 years.
Cool.
You should just cut that whole last minute.
No, you know what? I'm gonna keep it in because this week I'm just not in the mood to edit. So I'm like, yeah, people can.
All right, we got to be on topic. We cannot have anything that we need to cut.
Starting now.
Do not say anything embarrassing. Let's go.
Cool. Today we're talking about Rango. This
right to the point. Rango.
This is a 2011 film directed by Gore Verbinski. You may recognize that name. He did, I think, the first Pirates of the Caribbean or one of the early.
At least the first, if not the first 3.
Yeah. And also a few other movies that you may have heard of. And the did it really? Was it 2011 this came out? That seems really recent.
I
don't
thought that
think
it was
that's right.
A couple years before that.
It was 2011. It was March 4th. Wow, Jesus. I always thought this was like a 2005. The synopsis reads, a chameleon played by Johnny Depp who has lived as a sheltered family pet finds himself in the grip of an identity crisis. Rango wonders how to stand out when it is his nature to blend in. When he accidentally winds up in a frontier town called Dirt, he takes the first step on a transformational journey as the town's new sheriff. Though at first, Rango only role-plays, a series of thrilling situations and outrageous encounters forces him to become a real hero. I'm glad we're talking about this movie because I feel like it was pretty heavily talked about when it came out. It made a good amount of money. Like, it was a success. Mm-hmm. It won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. And I feel like no one ever talks about it anymore.
Okay, it's weird because I remember I saw this in theaters, and then watching it for this podcast was the first time I have seen it since.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, the interesting thing, though, is I remember the marketing at the time. It was kind of marketed, since it's an animated film, and I guess you have to market animated films this way, but it was marketed as a kid's movie.
Right.
This isn't really a kid's movie. Like, it kind of is, but I don't...
It's a mix.
Because the humor in this is not really kid movie humor.
No.
Because a lot of the visual gags are closer to, like, BoJack gags, where they require some like thought rather than like someone getting. I mean, there was a lot of like slapstick, people getting like hit in the face and stuff.
Yeah,
but I think that some of the comedy is like a bit deeper than I remember.
Totally, yeah. And I mean, Nickelodeon did this, or they produced it, whatever.
So it was definitely intended to be a kids movie, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah.
Disregard what I just said.
No, like it is weird that. I mean, yeah, it's definitely, it was like marketed as this like kids movie, but I think it also is like, it makes sense that Nickelodeon did this. I feel like a lot of Nickelodeon content really does not shy away from tailoring to adults sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like they have a lot of, at least like the earlier stuff. I don't pay attention now. I'm not watching Nickelodeon, but I feel like they've kind of fizzled out of that for the sake of.
Was Courage the Cowardly Dog Nickelodeon?
Nope, that was Cartoon Network, but
you're right, that was Cartoon Network.
I'm pretty sure
you're right. We can't cut, so we can't. I shouldn't have even said something I wasn't sure about.
Nah. Well, you know what? It's now we know, and everybody else knows. Everybody already knew, probably, but
they were just. I just gave them a spot to say no, that's wrong.
Yeah,
they could feel like empowered.
But this movie, and I actually am very curious because I know that Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is one of your favorite movies, and this is like, like very. Do you have anything to say about that?
Okay, yeah. So I was gonna get into this later, but you kind of gave a good segue for this.
Yeah.
Apparently there is a fan theory that actually makes a lot of sense. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind of, but I would explain.
So, I mean, first of all, there is a Raoul Duke cameo of when they're driving in the desert and Rango hits like their windshield. Mm-hmm. So there is a literal Fear and Loathing like cameo in this film. Yeah. But in addition to that, I guess people are saying that means that this takes place in the same like universe as Fear and Loathing. But taking that a step further, there is a like drug trip dream or like passing out, sequence in Fear and Loathing where Johnny Depp wakes up in like water with a lizard tail.
Oh my God.
So people are saying that was his like drug trip dream. Like this film is the drug trip dream from that film.
That would make so much sense. That honestly is probably the case.
Right.
It's like
because Rango's character is like kind of a mixture between Johnny Depp's character in Fear and Loathing and like Jack Sparrow almost. It's kind of like he's just doing a in the middle of those two characters. Yeah, which is hilarious for like an animated film to have a character like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a character played like Rango in a child's film.
Never, no.
Because Rango is like kind of a no holds barred, fairly adult character.
Yeah. Like, yeah, definitely like kind of
There's so much violence in this movie. Like normally in a kid's movie, it's like someone gets bonked on the head and they're like, well, they're knocked out. And then you see like birds spin around their head.
Right.
But in this movie, they're like, yeah, they're dead.
Yeah. That's
like, that guy's dead.
That's a great point. Yeah. Cause usually in kids movies, it's like someone will either like get hurt really bad or just have something embarrassing happen to them. And that's the way they deal with that. But this one, it literally like people get killed.
Yeah, people get killed on screen. There's corpses on screen.
Yeah,
there's also like insinuation of more death, like at the end of the film. Like, they're insinuating that snake's about to kill that guy.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, we're getting into spoilers, but it's Rango from
people
9 years ago. Yeah, it's a very dark film for children.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's like I remember seeing this in theaters. You were older than I was. I was in high school?
No, I was 19 or 20.
Wait, that really put things into perspective. That's weird.
You would have been in middle school.
I was in middle school. I was like going through never mind. I was going to say something I was going to say
no cutting.
Something kind of funny but also probably kind of weird. But yeah, that's weird. But anyways, when I saw it when I was young, I was like, wow, this is really weird. And I remember being like really weirded out, as you are when you watch this. And rewatching it, I didn't feel that much different. I still think it's not like Coraline, where it's like when you see that as a kid, you're like, ah, and then you rewatch it and you're like, oh, this is just really cool. Mm-hmm. This, you're like, oh, this was very weird.
It was weird. It's just because it's something where it was very clearly not tailored to kids from the concept. The concept is kid friendly, like the general premise of the film.
Yeah.
But the actual like dialogue in the film and just the entire plot in general is not really that kid oriented. Like I feel like once they got approved to make this film, they just did whatever they wanted.
Totally. And I can't get over the fact that it won Best Animated Feature.
Yeah.
Too.
So when I watched this, I watched it on Amazon because it was like, free with Prime on that.
Uh-huh.
But it's actually, Amazon gives it, even though it was rated PG when it came out, Amazon gives it a 13 plus rating.
No way. That's
yeah. Yeah, Amazon's internal rating is like, this is too much for kids.
That's that's very funny.
Also, briefly, can we get into the logic in this film? Just in terms of
for sure.
which animals are like anthropomorphic and which ones are not. It didn't make any sense.
No.
Right? So birds aren't anthropomorphic except for the crow.
Mm-hmm.
But also the bats aren't. So they're similar to birds, except their bats are mammals. So they're the closest to us, but they're the ones that are the least anthropomorphic.
Yeah.
Because the other birds seem to have like the hunting birds at least were of their own volition in terms of their movements, where the bats were only controlled by people, and then they would just explode like planes.
I was gonna say
They exploded, and they're the mammals in this.
And then
there's also the one pig that was like riding with the water jug.
Yeah.
It was like some kind of wild pig or something.
There's the owls.
Yeah, the owls, but they sing. So
Right.
they're anthropomorphic, and they're birds. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I have a weird relationship with the birds in this movie.
It's weird. It doesn't follow any logic. Also, why are all the animals the same size, regardless of what type of animal they are? They're like a lizard, and he's the same size as a cat. And I'm like, what is this?
Right. I think.
But then the snake is gigantic.
You're making some really great observations here, because everyone talks about how surreal and trippy this movie is, but it's like, and sure, there's like the obvious examples, but that's a great point. Like small stuff like that doesn't make sense is just
arbitrary. Which animals can talk?
Yeah.
But also, the sizes of them doesn't make any sense. There's like, they all need to fit into a saloon together, so they got to be the same size.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's.
I think this is one of the few, like modern at least, like takes like children's Western. I can't think of. I feel like they do the Westerns all the time in like children's movies and like big animated movies, but this feels like a Western ass Western, you know. Like up until like the weird like drug trip stuff. Like they really go all in on it. And the score, which I think Hans Zimmer did.
The score was great.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to say something. I got like a tear in my eye for after the Spirit of the West meeting. Mm-hmm. The score was so good.
Yeah.
Like in that moment.
Dude, it's basically, well, it's so cool because I'm like, I recognize a lot of this from other films, and he's basically just like imitating, get the name, Enrio Morricone. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to cut stuff. This is just so bad. Wait, let me just, is that it? Yeah, Ennio Morricone. Yeah, Kone. I've never said the name out loud. I've said it many. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, great tribute. But, yeah, I just really like that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Damn, I'm probably gonna have to cut that. But what else? What did you think of? Like, there were some. Did you pick up on any other references? Because I thought I saw a few, and I didn't write them down, and I was curious if you picked up on any. I think they referenced Chinatown at one point. Not sure if you've seen it, but
I have not seen it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well,
yeah, that's a classic Carscast moment.
That's that charting
here's
movie
a
podcast.
Famous movie. Have you seen it? No.
Mispronouncing like the best film composer of all time, and then not watching Chinatown.
Yeah. Hey, we are the 94th.
We are the 94th
film and TV rated podcast.
Yeah.
I even said those words in the wrong order.
Yeah, I was like, sure, they know what you mean. What else? Yeah, I really liked Johnny Depp in this. We already kind of talked about him, though.
Johnny Depp was great in this.
Yeah. I mean, this is like one of his... The way you put it earlier, this is kind of like the most like Johnny Depp performance. Because he really does like feel like he's blending together a lot of his best characters, at least, into this one animated chameleon. And it works so well. And, yeah.
Imagine if that was like the tagline of the film. Johnny Depp blends all of his best characters into one animated chameleon.
Okay, as far as like actual like reviewing goes, though, I think there's a reason this movie isn't talked about as much as it is. And it's because I think for as great of like a tribute as it is to like Western films, and like as beautiful as the animation still holds up a lot. And I guess we'll touch on that in a little bit. I just think the story isn't there, at least for like children to really stick with. Like, I'm sure this makes for like such a fun time as like an adult or like a college student. Like, same thing. College students are adults, but I just think like, I don't know. Even rewatching it, the story didn't really hit with me.
Yeah, that was by far the weakest part of this film.
Yeah.
The weakest part was all the things that were happening.
the backbone of the film, yeah.
Yeah, but Rango, I mean, it's kind of a character film, and that's just you're following Rango, who is so well played and so interesting.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter as much what's happening. Of course, I think that's what would have made it a great movie, rather than where I just think it's a very good movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, also, because I mean, yeah, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's almost 2 hours long, and which is actually pretty crazy for a kids movie to begin with,
especially an animated movie, as
right?
Well.
An animated movie with not a great story, and I still was like pretty entertained throughout, and it went by like very fast for me. So, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, the animation. I feel like it's doing like so many different things. Like sometimes it's super pretty and beautiful. Other times, like when it commits to what it wants to do, if it's like terrifying, it's like disgusting and really disturbing. But when it's like beautiful, I'm like, this is nice. This is this is great.
I also loved Rango's eyes so much.
Yeah. All the eyes in the movie, actually. But yeah.
That's true. Here's the thing that I have to bring up because everyone wants to know this. How was the fur?
I was hoping. I was like, I could mention it. I liked the fur. It was nice. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do it, this is how you do it, right? Yeah. That's my take.
That's
on
good.
that.
No, that's a good take.
I think part of why people don't stick with it as much is so much of it takes place in the desert where there's not a huge backdrop. And I guess I can see from like a child's perspective, at least this is like how I viewed it before I rewatched it. It's like, it all feels like it's taking place in one location in a way.
Yeah.
Not really. That's not what the movie actually is, but it just reads like that.
What's interesting is because Rango's entire life is literally enclosed in a small box.
Yeah.
It's interesting that we're making the point that the entire movie about him leaving his box feels too small of a location.
Yeah, that's
because like part of the theme of the film is him exploring the larger world.
Right.
And we're like, yeah, it feels too small. But no, I agree. I definitely agree with you. I just think it's
a weird point.
Yeah, it's a weird point that I actually am committing to.
Cool.
And I think that's really a fault of the film, if anything. That is actually a actual issue I can find with the film. Is that one of the themes is not fully explored because it's just like I feel like he needed to go on a larger adventure, like maybe into the city of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And then he could have run into Raoul Duke again from Fear and Loathing. Could have or even when they were in like it would have been funny if they did do like one more tie-in.
Yeah.
Of, like later in the film if it picked up.
Yeah. Dude, I'm amazed at how many different like movie references there are in this. Even though we've only mentioned two, it feels like such an ode in a lot of different ways. But yeah, do you have anything else? Do you have any like closing thoughts on this?
I mean, do we want to talk briefly about the larger like conceit of the film and that? I guess I don't know if we want to get into like broader themes. Because they're there in the film, but I don't know if they really affect our enjoyment that much. Because I mean, the film is obviously about, Rango discovering who he is, in it and his place in the larger world.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There are scenes that when you try to think of it in these larger, like more broad terms, like when he goes back to the road and then like finds his fish friend.
Yeah.
It's like him kind of going back. Wait, if this is in like a screen rating, is that the innermost cave?
Yeah.
I forget. Is that where that is?
I also can't confirm, but
I forget there because I learned all this like 4 years ago. Like how because there's like a framework, that all scripts like fall within for the most part.
Right,
you can,
right.
Like, identify them. I kind of think most of that is probably in some truth, but obviously then people do what I just did, where they try to like say this part of the script is this exact part of this method, and that's kind of dumb. So I don't know why I just did it.
No, I mean, it makes it's good that you brought it up.
So, anyways, that's all I had to say about
94th.
That's Rango for you.
That's Rango. That's the thing. It's like, as much as, again, that kind of goes back to like the weaker parts about the movie is that, it has like these cool, it's got like themes going for it and like a deeper like soul searching thing going on. But that's not why I watched this movie or why I would rewatch it again. It's like, I just think it's a lot of fun. It's really stupid in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised we haven't just talked about how stupid the movie is.
Yeah.
Like, it really just cuts.
Rango's an asshole also.
Yeah, he's not a good
He's a
guy.
huge fraud. He's a con man.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, just like, it's very weird that one of the owls, I think whoever does the voice is like in all those trailers. It just sounds like I'm watching a trailer for a movie sometimes. The way it flows, but yeah. Anyways, I think it's good. I think this is a fun.
What
fun
was
movie.
your favorite? Last thing I think that we could say, just as a topper, what was your favorite joke in the film, like visual or, whatever?
What was yours?
Yeah, I have one because I put you on the spot there.
Yeah, you put me on the
hardcore, hardcore put you on the spot.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ.
So mine was a visual joke. It was right after the owls did the thing about saying that like Rango. First of all, they said that Rango was gonna die in the middle of the film. They said they did like this like fake foreshadowing saying he was gonna die, which at the end they brought up again. They're like, yeah, he's gonna die, but it might be in a household accident.
Yeah.
And then they brought up a statistic saying that 65% of unnatural deaths are from household accidents, which is kind of, why would you say that in a kid's movie? That's just gonna make everyone think their parents are gonna die around the house.
Yeah.
Weird. But anyways, that wasn't my point. My point was that the first time when they said he's gonna die, then they cut to Rango and he's sitting in the office of the mayor, like waiting in the waiting room. Mm-hmm. And there's two paintings behind him diagonally. They both have guns and like an arrow pointing at his head.
Wait. I was just about to. I had that written down in my phone because that is like one of the greatest like visual gags. That is. I kind of want to hop on that one too because that's the only time in the movie I actually like laughed out loud.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's so
this movie's
good.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, when you like cuts to that because he has such a skinny pencil neck. But it's like weird and crooked, so
yeah. That's the thing. It's like most of the gags and like silly things about it are all like completely visual in this movie. Like they just look very goofy. So yeah. I also just really liked the little fish a lot.
Yeah.
But
all right. Anyways, that's Rango.
That's Rango, I guess. What are you feeling for it?
What are you feeling for a star?
Well, time of day rating, do we want to do that?
Time of day rating, I think you could kind of go either way with this. I think you could even go like a pre-dinner, like 4 p.m., 4:30 maybe.
Yeah, that's a really weird time, but that does work. I was going to say like this is a nice 9 p.m.?
No, that works too. That was my other, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Definitely not midnight. I would say
definitely not early in the morning. You don't want to see Rango when you wake up.
You don't. It just gives you a weird feeling the rest of the day. Cool. And as for a star rating, I said like a 3.5.
That's where I'm at.
Like, definitely not anything better than that, but like a good time. I
Yeah.
will never watch this and have like a bad time.
Right. No, I think we're firmly on the 3.5 train.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's Rango. It's on Hulu if you want to.
And Amazon Prime in the U.S. at least.
Yeah. Well, we got some questions if we want to get
I'm
into
ready
those.
for some questions.
Cool. We got 3 of them this week. This first one comes from Jacob Colness from the Patreon. If you guys didn't know, if you pledge $15 on Patreon and ask us a question in our question thread, you get it answered in the normal episodes.
And you also give Carson a great segue to talk about that as well.
And that's why we do them.
That's why we do them.
But this one, as I said, comes from Jacob Colness, and it is, do you put ketchup on your tater tot hot dish? Also corn in your spaghetti hot dish? Thoughts? Your face just... that was...
Corn in your
corn in your spaghetti hot dish. I don't do that.
Okay, first of all, what's a hot dish?
Okay, see, I was wondering... I don't know where Jacob Colness is from, but hot dishes are like a mostly Midwestern thing, specifically Minnesota. I know they're huge in Minnesota. I'm not that into hot dishes.
Explain the hot dish a little bit.
The hot dish, it's pretty much exactly what you hear. It's like a big dish. Think like a lasagna shaped thing, but it's not a lasagna. It's just in that shape, full of different ingredients. Usually a common one is like a dish full of potatoes and like cheese and maybe some like rice and topped with like breadcrumbs or something. It's just like a very, let me just look up the definition.
I don't know if I'm into this. Okay, we talked about one other weird Minnesota food, and I don't think it was this. I think it was something else that was weird.
Yeah, it might have been the Juicy Lucy, but I don't remember bringing up Juicy Lucy.
What the hell's a Juicy Lucy?
Dude, a Juicy Lucy is a delicious thing. It is a cheeseburger with cheese inside of the meat instead of on top. And which means that like when it is like boiling hot cheese, like could burn the inside of your mouth. You have to wait for it to cool.
Does it sound good?
No, it's so good.
It just sounds like then the hamburger would be cold.
No. You cut the hamburger open, and then like as soon as the cheese like comes out, you never want to bite into a Juicy Lucy is what I'm saying. You cut it open first, and then you let it kind of cool down, and then you have like a really gooey cheese with your burger. You got to go to if
couldn't you just put the cheese on top of the burger and then just eat it normally?
No, because it's not as juicy. That's why they call them the Juicy Lucies, spelled Jucy Lucy.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, but a hot dish is the other. I feel like. Let me look up the definition for a hot dish for you. A hot dish is a dish that typically contains a starch, a meat, and a canned or frozen vegetable mixed with canned soup.
Why does the vegetable have to be canned?
That's just part of the... I don't...
You can't... You have fresh vegetables. They have to be canned.
Yeah, I didn't have a backup for that. You know what? But I don't put ketchup on my tater tot hot dish. To answer the question. I don't really eat a lot of hot dishes. Like my family, we don't make hot dish that much. But my mom did give me a hot dish cookbook for my birthday. And Jaxie and I were going to make some. We never did, but we're going to get to it.
Yeah. You know what? I'll eat it if I'm around.
Yeah.
I'll make it sometime.
I'll make you a hot dish. Just come on over.
Yeah. Okay. Now that we've established what the question is. So just can you restate what the two specific questions about these hot dishes are? It
is, do you put ketchup on your tater tot hot dish? Also corn in your spaghetti hot dish. Thoughts? I've never had a spaghetti hot dish though.
I'm going to say I would not want corn in a spaghetti hot dish.
Yeah.
But is the first one like a tater tot?
Yeah, tater tot hot dish. I've had that before. It's really good.
I could see, so I do eat ketchup with tater tots. I don't eat ketchup with like normal potatoes, but something about the fact that they're like fried, I can do ketchup with them because it's close to a fry.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say yes on the first one, no on the second one.
Okay. Good to know.
Good to know.
I was like looking up
the
at
way
this.
You just say that after I answer any question. It just
Good to know.
So sarcastic.
Interesting, yeah. No, I had to look away because I wanted to plug this one restaurant in Minnesota if anyone's ever in town, and you can go to restaurants. But go to The Nook on somewhere in St. Paul, the Nook. They have great Juicy Lucy's, and they got a bowling alley in the basement, and that's my recommendation.
Apparently, hot dishes are very popular in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's like what we do here. I mean, we do more than that, but
Cook all your food together.
Yeah.
You go play some hockey, and then you
play,
come home.
Exactly.
And you make some hot dish.
To be living in the state of hockey, I really was not a big hockey guy. But anyways, this next one comes from Munner's Mun from the subreddit, and it is, are you guys nerds?
So that's for sure Monroe Page.
Yeah, that's Monroe Page. Are you guys nerds about anything technical or engineering related? Example, computers, cars, planes, civil engineering, military vehicles, etc. Do you nerd out on any of that kind of stuff? Because I know there's guys that are like big car guys.
Right. I am not a car guy. So my high school was actually a magnet program for computer science.
Uh-huh.
So I had classes where I had to learn how to program in like C++ and Java.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I hated that.
Yeah.
One time, the entire class got caught for cheating because none of us knew how to program in C++.
Oh, no.
So the problem, though, for them was that if everyone cheated, what are they going to do?
Exactly. Yeah. Dude,
it's kind of like a union almost.
Quick cheating story. In 10th grade, in our biology class, which I was really bad at, he gave us like a take-home test.
Yeah.
And everyone cheated on it, like obviously, because it was a take-home test, and we were like, so yeah, we're gonna cheat. But he said he caught like 3 specific people, and which isn't everybody, but it was because everyone did it. Everyone was like really paranoid, and I was so paranoid that me and my friend went to him afterwards, and we were like, hey, we're really sorry. We were one of the people, because he said like if you didn't come forward, you'd get in like more trouble or something. So
that's
came
what
forward.
they did with our C++ assignment. So we just came forward because we're like, what are they gonna do if like the whole class cheated and I do come forward and say I cheated?
Yeah, so we did that, and I was like, hey, we cheated, and he's like, oh, don't worry, we caught the people, and we were like, oh, so yeah, we didn't cheat, but we were just saying that to see
both sides.
Yeah, I was like, no, we're just
I mean, I also cheated on my like AP biology class.
Yeah.
Because it was with a take-home test where I found the test bank for the real test, and I spent the whole morning of the test days studying the test bank of like 100-something questions, and I just memorized all of them. But like, I couldn't memorize all of them for real, so I just used mnemonic devices.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, this question starts with an A, and the answer is A. This is a short question. It's the shortest answer. So I just like visually would go through a bunch of times and try to memorize them all. And I never opened the textbook or read it.
Hey, that's the way to do it.
It worked. Yeah, I somehow passed the AP biology exam. Didn't have to take biology in college.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess that worked if that was my goal.
Did you take the ACT and SAT?
I took the SAT. I never took the ACT.
Okay. I won't ask you for your scores on the podcast, but I also took.
But afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. We'll dish it out in the Patreon episode or something. Cool. Well, to answer the question, I was never a car guy either.
I forgot the question.
Never into any of this really. I guess I like kind of geek out over like tech, as in like, I don't know. Like, I geek out over, like, tech, like phones, and, like, whenever I'm buying something, I pay attention.
Some cameras, I
cameras
know a lot about, like, the specs of cameras and stuff.
Yeah, but nothing big. I really just have never gotten into cars. But the only thing I know is that I would buy a Tesla if I could. I want a Tesla, personally. Would you get a Tesla?
Go 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds.
Exactly. I want the big iPad thing. That's the only thing I really.
Yeah, I want like when they do the space shuttle like spinning around thing. I want that to be my face driving in my car.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Dude, it's 20 G's in my car or nothing.
Yeah. This last one.
My car gives me like 0 G's. It's slow.
Not a G in sight. Golden Trigger 42 asks, "What's your favorite snack that can come from a vending machine?" So what's your like go-to in those? Because
Okay, so
I guess it
vending
depends on what your
machine-
mood is in.
Yeah, or
you know?
what your vending machine has.
Yeah.
So I feel like this has to be. So, do you have one off the top of your head?
Yeah, usually like my go-to, I have two go-tos because I'm either in the mood for something salty or sweet.
Yeah.
And candy bars, they usually go by pretty fast, so I avoid those. And also, I don't think they're in vending machines that often, now that I think about that. But, so my two go-tos are the pretzel bags or those little cookies.
Okay.
The miniature
Solid.
cookies.
Yeah. So I have two answers. One is like a hyper-specific answer, and then one is when I worked at Cinespace.
Yep.
There was a vending machine there that I used all the time.
So I know the vending machine. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was one slot where there was Reese's Pieces, but it was like a fairly large bag for how much it cost.
Uh-huh.
So I got that. I used to get that all the time.
Nice. Those are
Yeah,
good.
that was.
I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever had Reese's Pieces, to be honest. But
So you just said they were good.
no.
You changed
I didn't say, I meant to say that sounds good. Conceptually, those sound really good, but I've never had one.
Yeah. That's yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
that is my like general answer.
Cool.
My specific answer is if we're counting beverages as well. There was the coffee Coke that when I was in Vietnam, when we used to do recommendations, I recommended that.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Vietnam has this specific like coffee Coke product where it's Coke that has like some coffee in it. And it like the aftertaste is coffee and like the first taste is Coke, and it's really good.
Damn. That sounds, yeah.
So I used to pick that up all the time. I'm sure they're in some vending machines in Vietnam.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that about does it for questions this week.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Good questions.
asking questions, guys. I guess we'll get into our wrap up. For next week's movie, we have not talked about it beforehand, but I'll pitch it to you.
You have it, right?
Right here on the podcast, yeah.
All right,
There's
let's
this
go.
new Riz Ahmed movie called Sound of Metal, available on Amazon Prime.
I saw an ad for that, like when I was getting Rango on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It looks really cool. I really want to check it out. And
All right, I'm in.
Cool. All right, so next week we're talking about Sound of Metal on Amazon Prime. Supposed to be one of the best of the year. Has Riz Ahmed in it. And
Would have been funny if I said no.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, shit, I gotta find a new movie. Cool. And then what else? Oh, we read a review. we do that to encourage you guys to leave reviews because we like to know what you guys have to say, and it helps the podcast
It's also fun to read them.
climb up those charts. It's also very fun to read them, yeah. So this one comes from Carscast, more like Best Cast, out of Canada. The subject line is, I feel like the opposite of Garfield. I love Mondays. 5 stars, and it's a long one. It reads, Monday morning, I wake up excited to hear a new episode of Carscast because it is my favorite movie podcast and I love movies. My excitement turns to anxiousness as there isn't usually one out first thing in the morning. My mind begins to race. Did Karsten and Jeff forget to record? Maybe the podcast is ending forever with no warning. Maybe they hate me. Did I do something wrong? The hours go by until finally, the Carscast Twitter notification pops up on my phone. New episode out now. I race to get my headphones and just start vibing to the boys. In all seriousness, I love this pod and the randomness of topics. Keep it up. Fire emoji. P.S. Jeff, I know you're a big hockey fan. I'm from Winnipeg. Do you like the Winnipeg Jets? PPS. Would love to hear you guys talk about a ghost story. PPPS. There was not another thing. But yeah.
Okay, quick just anecdote about the Winnipeg Jets. So the Winnipeg Jets used to be a team a long time ago, and then because Canada, I think their economy was weak in like the 80s and 90s, so they lost their team. But then there was an expansion franchise given to Atlanta.
Oh.
Which it was the Atlanta Thrashers. Now that franchise did not do well. No one from Atlanta cares about hockey at all. So they actually moved that team to Winnipeg. So now they have the Winnipeg Jets again, even though it's technically a different franchise.
Wow. That is weird.
But here's the thing. For like the first few years of them being a team, because they had the way that most sports work is like in America is that because of how large of a country it is, they have different cities like kind of aligned in divisions so that you play the teams that are geographically closer to you more often. So it's the travel's not insane. And because of this, for like 3 or 4 years, Winnipeg, which is in kind of like Western Canada, was in the same conference, or they were in the same division, which is even more specific in conference, as the Tampa Bay Lightning. So they had to go travel back and forth to Winnipeg a bunch of times a year.
That's very odd. Cool.
Yep.
I had no idea. And yeah, we'll talk about a ghost story sometime if Jeff is interested.
Sure.
Cool. Well, lastly, we like to give a shout out to our patrons. If you are interested in becoming a patron, go to patreon.com/Carscast. It's a great way to support us. Over there, you can get exclusive access to bonus episodes, Q&As, shout-outs at the end of every episode, Zoom Hangouts, and a ton of other cool things. So yeah, here's that shout-out we promised. Thank you, Addison Ware. Let me just expand this because the names aren't. Okay. Addison Ware, Allison Grace, Annabelle Falk, Bex, Blake Root, Boat, Brandon Yu, Brock Schultz, Camilla, Eden, Fozzie Bear, Grant Gow, Harry Remedianakis. I'm going to let you finish, but the Boris Lozone was one of the best podcasts of the 2010s. Iron Tusk 93, Isabel, Iva, Jaden Easton, Jacob Colness, John Van Hout, Joshua Krzwicki, Kara M, Katie T, Kevin Turner, Lick We Live Rob, Lucian Vecina, Luke Vineyard, Maddie Robertson, Martin Deff, Martina, Marilee Borslow, Micah Simmons, Michael Decker, Moses Ox, Monroe Page, Pablo Patel, Parks, Ready Steady, Ernie, Riley Oust, Robert Burke, Saba, Sam Farr, Sophia Arieta, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Smitty Werbin, Jagerman Jensen, Taylor Hardy, 10 Billion, Toad Pimp, Tom Likes Beans, Vegard Strom, Vera S, Wait a Second, Jeff, I Thought I Fired You, Yoki Sasquatch, and Yusef A.
Nice
Thank
work.
you guys. Thank you. I had like saliva coming out the corners of my mouth.
So if we ever had like 10,000 subscribers, would that just be the entire episode? Is you just come on, read the names, and then it takes so long that
it'd be a long... Yeah. It definitely is growing. So it's... I want to go back to one of our earlier episodes when we had like 5.
It's like 7, yeah.
Yeah, it was really funny like earlier on in my YouTube channel because I do like the names at the end and the credits. And I had like, I think...
Did you ever have one that was just one?
Yeah, it was just 2 people. One of which was like a friend from high school, and I was just like, thanks, guys.
It's like, thank you to my patron.
Yep. You are the best. You for now. But yeah. Well, I think that does it for today's episode.
Sounds good to me.
That's that's the 90th episode right there. On to 91.
Hey. All right. Well, do you have anything else to say?
Not a damn thing.
Wait, should I do a quick pose for the
Yeah. Let's do
thumbnail. What should I do? You tell me what to do.
What's a Rango thing? Just be like...
Should my eyes be really tiny? Like
I'll Photoshop your eyes to be like...
Or like really big, but with like tiny like pupils or something.
Yeah. So let me.
Should I get closer? Like.
I'm not gonna do. Wait, one more time. Wait, can you duck down a little bit so your head is so easier for the Photoshop? Okay, I'm not gonna do any Photoshop work and just have you looking really intense into the thing, and I'll just be like. And looking at you.
Why was Jeff mad? You just Photoshop and just put text under that says, "Why is Jeff mad?" with the exclamation point.
Cool. Also, the mic is over here. They probably can't hear me. Jeff, do you have anything else to say?
So they can hear you.
All right. Cool.
Catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.
Flip side.